and welcome to Mythical Entertainment Interviews. I'm your host, Mith. Today we'll be chatting with Erica Lindbeck, the talented voice actress who's lent her skills to various roles, from toy icon Barbie to Kaori in Your Lie in April, and most recently the stone-slinging hero Talia from League of Legends. We've got a great discussion ahead. Stay tuned! All right, so Erica, again, thank you very much for joining us today. To get started, how did you get started in voice acting, and tell us a little bit about your background?
I was working with Bang Zoom for anime, and then for Skip Beat. That's not even. I guess I don't even know what company. I guess it's Pied Piper. But I started in VO about 2 years ago, and my background is in theater. I went to UCLA and I majored in theater there, and I've pretty much been doing theater my entire life. And I always knew I wanted to be an actor. And it was like the last few years of college, I kind of started realizing, well, okay, I'm a huge fan of animation and video games and anime. Maybe this could be something, viable that I could do. Because, I love acting is acting. And, wherever I can do it that's a good, wherever I can, performance is performance, basically is what I'm saying. And also I really like, what I like about VO is that you can play characters that you would never be able to play in real life.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I took a couple classes with Crispin Freeman, who I totally recommend 110%. I think he's incredible. I feel lucky enough to call him a friend now. But I took a couple classes with him. And then my senior year at UCLA, they started sort of bringing in professionals to talk to us. And randomly that year, they brought in like Fred Tatasciore, who I've worked with now, which is crazy. They brought in like Fred Tatasciore. He plays the Hulk amongst like a million other roles. Yeah. And they brought in, I think it was Motion Melvin, his name is Motion Melvin, which is probably the coolest name ever, first of all. But second of all, he does a lot of commercial VO, like all the like K99.1, X, like that kind of stuff. Right. And then they brought in this guy named Richard Tatum, who is now a major mentor of mine. And he actually, I approached him to make my demo reels, and he ended up walking me into his agency, which happened to be one of the top VO agencies bi-coastally. And I've been with them for about 2 years now. And that's pretty much how I got into it. My first roles were anime. My first ever role in anything VO was a lead in an anime series called Capellion. Mm-hmm. I've done a lot of anime. I feel like I really cut my teeth on anime, and now I'm getting more anime and sort of JRPGs, like that kind of stuff. And so I do, so anime, JRPGs, and now I'm getting more into Western animation and sort of that kind of stuff. I do everything, though, I would say. But people know me mostly for anime and video games.
Yeah. You'll get that fandom that'll be able to point you out and be like, oh, I know you from this. And you're like, yeah, but I have these other things too. But they'll recognize you from this early.
I forgot, like, I'm the voice of Barbie. Yeah. That's another thing that's
a big one, yeah.
I was like, I forget about it, though, because when I'm at a convention or something, I have to remember to say Barbie because I'm at an anime convention,
Yeah. Oh, that's so funny. And that's definitely going to get you a fan base that probably hasn't grown into that demographic yet in terms of anime, right? Like fans of Barbie perhaps are still coming up, and they'll start watching anime and they'll be like, that sounds familiar. Yeah, wait a minute. Yeah. I heard that when I was like 5 years old.
Yeah, because my League of Legends character just came out. And that obviously League has a huge fan base. And so someone linked me to the Reddit thread, and people were saying, oh my God, that's Ellie from Love Live. Oh my God, that's Kaori from Your Lie in April. She does the voice for Barbie. That's so weird. Yeah. Like, it was so crazy. People just can't fathom like that crossover, which I think is so funny.
Yeah, absolutely. So speaking of title roles that you've played, you recently played the role of Kaori in Your Lie in April.
Yeah.
How was that experience?
That, I could lie and say that it didn't destroy me, but I'm not going to. No, I was really nervous when I booked that part because I didn't know it takes. I mean, I feel like I came out of that experience a better performer. And I mean, have you seen the show?
Yes.
Okay. Have you seen the English dub of it?
I saw the first couple episodes.
Okay, so you know what happens then. It was really hard. I'm so proud of it. I don't know if I'm ever going to be a part of an anime series like that will be received that well, because people really love the dub, which is crazy because, there's usually so many dub haters out there. And I feel like people really, really loved this one, which is amazing. And not even, not even what I was thinking going into it. I was like, just get through this, like serve the piece, do as good of a job as you possibly can, because like, in all the crying scenes or whatever, blah, 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 like I'm actually crying. I think it was one of the only shows that my work kind of came home with me every day. Like when I would leave, I would be crying in my car, like it would really, really affect me. And we were so lucky, like obviously the guy who plays Kosei, Max Middleman, who's ironically my neighbor. He's incredible, and we just had such a good cast, and we took our time with it, and Patrick Seitz was incredible. He was the director, and he wrote the script, and it was like his baby. I mean, that show was his baby, and it was such a labor of love, and I'm so proud of it, and I'm so glad that the fans like it, and I feel like I came out of it a better performer, so I'm very, very proud of that.
Yeah, I definitely saw a lot of positive feedback about the dub, which is unusual.
Isn't that crazy? Like, I feel like there's always so much negative feedback. Like, even if the dub is good, I feel like there's so much negative feedback, and we didn't really get a lot. It was insane. I couldn't believe it. And actually, I was at Anime Boston a month ago, and we got to meet the original character designer and director for the show, and they loved it. It was crazy.
I saw that he was going to be there, and he's also going to be. He's coming up, or the author of the manga is going to be. He was at SakuraCon, or he's coming somewhere.
Anime Expo.
Expo. Oh right, yeah. I have my premiere fan badge for that. That's why I'm like so familiar. So definitely, You're Out Lion April in general has been very well received by the fandom, and so the fact that the dub has been received with such positivity, I think, like you're saying, it's really impressive. It's a feat, because when a show like that is so loved by the fandom, there's a lot of they get very protective and defensive of it.
So. Oh, absolutely. And your performance can never live up to the person that did it in Japanese or whatever. And I remember like one of the first comments on the trailer, which I was so shocked, was like, oh my gosh, I love Kaori in this one just as much as I loved her in the Japanese. Like, this is crazy. I can't believe it. And I was just, that was like such a win for me. I mean, you don't ever do a project with that in mind. Like, you just have to kind of throw yourself into the fire and like do it and do your best, and that's kind of all that matters. And you have to remind yourself of that, because there are always going to be people who don't like you. There are always going to be people who say, I hate this. I remember there was a comment on it. I'm so over it, because there was so much crap with Barbie when I started doing Barbie. And I wasn't the one, one of the two women who've been doing Barbie for like 10 years. So I dealt with that, in a very large way, like when that started happening. So when it came out, I knew I had done my level best. Like, I knew with Kaori that I had given it everything I had. I ripped my heart out. I threw it down. I said, here it is. This is what I got. And so that was all I really cared about. But it's just a great added bonus to have people love it.
To do all that, and then have the fandom be like, yes, you did. Yes, and you did a great job. So another role now that's I'm not sure if you guys have actually started doing the work yet on it yet or not, but that's Skip Beat. So Skip Beat's Kickstarter. We featured it recently. Got a chance to chat with Anne about the project, which was a lot of fun. How did you get involved with the project, and have you seen the series already, or since the project kind of came to life, have you watched it to sort of familiarize yourself with the series now?
So we haven't started recording for it yet. I think we have a couple months before we start recording. My familiarity with the project I used to read the manga. I haven't read all of it because there's so much, but I'm not shoujo's not really my shtick, like as far as from a fan perspective, but I really liked Skip Beat. Like, who doesn't like Skip Beat? I'm getting giddy over it. I really, really liked it. Especially, I don't know if you're familiar with it. Are you familiar with Skip Beat?
I haven't seen all of it. I've seen some. I've caught some subbed episodes, but the general genre I'm familiar with, and the foundation seems great. So I'm excited for it.
There was one section that I was reading like years ago. This is so funny that I'm in it now. But it was with it was with the two main characters there, and it was when they were playing like Setsu and Kane. They were playing like the brother sister pair that have like, she has like a crazy brother complex, and they're like acting and like living together. It's so funny. Sorry, I'm being this like super vague, but I read the manga, and like obviously my role, Kanae I think that's how I pronounce it. I honestly haven't even asked. Like, I haven't been to any meetings, so I'm not on the production side of things. But I've always pronounced it Kanae, and she when I got sort of my casting email, I was like, oh, this makes so much sense.
Right. Yeah.
Actually, one of the writers, Deb Crane, she was like, I'm so excited. I totally saw you when I saw this character. And but that was one of the shoujo mangas that I kind of read sporadically, but I was definitely invested. I really, really liked it because it's funny and it's, sad, and I think it's everything, that show.
All right. So talking about dubs, right? Talking about the quality dub that you gave in Your Lie in April and others. What show would you recommend to someone who's looking for a great quality dub? Yeah. So what's the first one that comes to your mind?
Hellsing. Hellsing is the number for me.
Yeah.
Not even like it's funny because I'm kind of friends with Crispin now. But when I was 15, obviously I wasn't. He and Taliesin, actually, I'm pretty good friends with Taliesin now. It's so crazy how life works out. I was 15 in North Carolina in like some tiny town watching Hellsing, and now I'm working with these people. It's kind of crazy. But I would say Hellsing. I think the Hellsing dub is flawless, like absolutely flawless. I also would say that Fate Zero and Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works, which I believe are both on Netflix, those are like Tony Oliver's babies. I mean, those are fantastic series. And I think that's all sort of in the seinen category though. Because that's sort of what I like. I like a lot of blood and gore. I'm very.
You're like, I'm not really into the shoujo. I'm more into the blood and gore and the Hellsing.
It's so funny. People don't usually expect that. They're like, "You're the voice of Barbie, and you're wearing like a Black Sabbath shirt. This is weird."
Yeah, a little bit of disconnect there.
But yeah, I would say those two for sure come to mind. I really like I like Samurai Champloo. I like, obviously, Cowboy Bebop is like a pretty freaking fantastic dub. Yeah.
So say those are your go-to. And then on a related note, what is your current favorite anime series, like dub aside?
I will always say Hellsing. Probably.
Okay, all right.
Ask me
like the winner.
I'm gonna say Hellsing. Yeah.
I
actually really like Psychopaths. That's a newer one that I really like. Oh, I really love Soul Eater. That's one that I really like. I usually watch dubs too, just FYI. Like, I loved Ouran High School Host Club, which Caitlin Glass is playing Kyoko, which is super exciting.
Yes.
Caitlin super exciting. I freaking love that. I love that woman. She wrote for Love Live. So I got to meet her because I play Ellie in Love Live, and I got to meet her through that, which was really, really fab. And actually, I saw her when I was in Texas a couple weekends ago. I went and just visited, and got to see her, and she's just fantastic. So yeah, the Skip Beat is definitely in good hands. Yeah, I like a lot of anime. I definitely don't keep up with the trends though. The one that I did was Free Iwatobi Swim Club.
Oh yeah, of course you have to. you can't go to a convention and not be familiar with Free. You have to know what's going on with those guys.
I really like the Sengoku Basada anime too.
Yeah, I'm if you ever get some spare time, I will say I'm a big fan from this season of a show called Haven't You Heard I'm Sakamoto. It's a kind of crazy slice of life comedy, basically. High school kid can do no wrong, super stylish in everything he does.
Oh, I love that.
I'm really looking forward to the dub. I want to know who they cast as Sakamoto. But if you watch an episode or two, you'll absolutely see why.
Do you know who has the license for it?
I don't know if it's. I know right now it's streaming on Crunchyroll. So I don't know if it's been purchased by any distributors for a dub yet.
Yeah, but yeah, Funimation, just for reference, Funimation is in Texas.
Yeah.
Then Bang Zoom is out here.
Right.
And like Studiopolis, does like Naruto, or did like Naruto and Bleach and stuff. So yeah, different titles you're bought. And I know Sentai Filmworks is also in Texas. So
yeah, I know. I've been talking to a lot of Funimation people recently, so I apologize. I defaulted to Funimation for some reason.
Right.
So what advice would you give to an aspiring voice actor when people ask you, Erica, what do I do to be successful in voice acting? What sort of things do you tell them?
I don't think there's anything specific that you can quote unquote like do to be successful in VO. I think there are a lot of factors that go into being quote unquote like good at this job. I would say number one, most people are going to tell you get the training. get trained, become a trained actor. You don't have to just take voiceover classes, take classes, learn. One of the reasons I started working so quickly was because I've been acting my entire life. It's like second nature to me. You know what I mean? So I think, yeah, some people were like, how did that happen? I just did an interview it was like League of Legends themed right before this. I just stacked my interviews. It was about Talia, and he was saying, I was looking at your roles and they're mostly leads. And that's really surprising because usually you have to work your way up, but for me, like it was really quick, and that I will completely admit it was very much a lot of luck, but I was really prepared when I went into this industry.
Right.
So I would say, yeah, prepare, get training, watch a lot of anime, play a lot of video games, like you know understand what you're auditioning for. Look at people who are booking a lot, like there's, you can steal from those people. Like it's okay. I listened to Laura Bailey, like Jennifer Hale, like all Kari Walgren, Gray Delisle or Gray Griffin, Tara Strong, like all those people I look at, and I look at their reads and I look at what they're doing and I say, am I up to that level? Can I do that?
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And so that's what I do, at least, and it's not really about comparing yourself to anybody else. It's just about look at what's out there, because when you get an agent, you're auditioning against those people. So you got to make sure that you can stack up, and the odds are going to be against you because I'm not as well known as those people.
Right.
So the way that I looked at it was, this is sort of very like, let's talk turkey about this, but I'm going to audition as well as I can, as many times as I can. And when they're not around, I will slip through the cracks, like 5 times out of 500 times,
Right.
I'll slip through the crack and I'll book that job that maybe one of them would have booked.
That'll help you get the edge, and then once you have 5, you'll get 10 next time, and then you'll get 20,
Exactly.
and then pretty soon you have the name that you're looking for.
Yeah, and be prepared to audition a lot. Just be prepared to get rejected a lot. Right now, something I'm focusing on is trying to make work not base my value off of how much I'm working, which is really difficult because I'm a very, very career oriented person. This is getting like, you're like my psychologist right now.
Tell me about your aphasia. No, I was kidding.
Yeah, but I'm very career oriented, so I'm like, I need to just find a hobby. I need to not worry so much about stuff. I mean, because you're gonna be constantly getting rejected all the time. I mean, literally yesterday, I got a call in the morning that said, "Hey, so you're on hold for this commercial," and then 2 hours later, "Hey, so they went with someone else.
Yeah.
Better luck next." Like, I mean, it just. Oh, I remember I booked a pilot. My first ever pilot, and then they got back to me like the next day and said, "Oh, sorry, they loved you so much, but there was somebody already in the role and she wants to come back and do it, so sorry." Like, you're gonna hear that all the time, and you could even get recast. Like, you could go in. I always call it, like, when you go in for an anime series, your first session is always like the "do I get to keep my part" session. You know what I mean? Because like you get booked off of an audition.
Yeah.
And you go in and it's like, okay, can I do what they want? And also, don't be concerned. All your insecurity has to go out the window when you get in the booth, or else it's going to destroy you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
anyway, yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah. And it's funny because and the voice actors I've spoken with John Swasey and a few others, and that's a recurring theme, is that acting, having that acting experience beforehand. It's not just about there's voice acting and then there's acting. There's no
there is literally
there is no barrier between the two. Yeah. So it's good to be hearing that cohesion there.
But I think also like understanding the world that you're in when you're auditioning. Like, if I get an audition script for a AAA title, I know it's going to be super naturalistic. I know that for a fact. I know it. I should read just like you and I are talking right now.
Right.
If I get something for like a kid's animation, I know it's going to be a little bit more broad. If I get a commercial read, I know I just need to sit there and read it once and then be done with it. Like, you just have to know.
Yeah.
The market that you're in.
Right. Because that's it's gonna vastly impact how you read it, just like you said. So which conventions will you be at in the coming months? Do you hit the convention scene a lot?
Yes. I have 2 conventions this month. I have Anime Central in Illinois. That is going to be not this weekend, but the next weekend. And then the next weekend, I have Animazement, which is in Raleigh,
all right,
North Carolina. And then I believe it's June, June, I'm going to a 1-day convention in Rochester, New York. I think it's called Rayacon.
Okay.
And then I'm going to be at HoshiCon in Charlotte, North Carolina in July. And then I have one convention that I'm going to in January. But I think it's a first year convention. It's called like Otaku something, but that's obviously like next year. It's in 6 or 7 months.
Okay.
So
Yeah. It's a little ways away, but
yeah, but
that's good to know where
I
you're
have
going.
a few. Conventions are really taxing, so it's something that it's the same way I am with interviews. Like I just feel like from the get go, you got to be pretty discerning about like what you throw yourself into and all that. So
Right. And just as a follow up, I'm curious. So you probably get invitations to these conventions at guests. What things do you take into consideration when you're deciding whether or not you're going to go to a convention?
I have a sort of con agent. She's an independent convention agent, and she's sort of trying out the whole being a con agent thing, and she's very very well versed in this stuff. So I have her look over everything,
Okay.
and that's pretty much it. But if something comes up, like I always say, barring a job coming up, that I have to be home for, I will go and do it. You got to just make sure the accommodations are okay and everything. I've heard some horror stories. I personally haven't experienced any of them yet. I think because I've been really lucky. But yeah, you just don't want to get yourself into a situation where you're just, in a crappy situation for 3 days, and then
Yeah.
you get back to LA and you have a session on Monday morning and you're exhausted. You know what I mean?
All right. And then any final comments or any other projects that you'd like to mention before we wrap up?
Um, I don't think so. I have some cool stuff coming up. I
Mhm.
think. I think I have cool stuff.
Okay,
You,
hopefully you don't get a call that's like, actually, we went with someone else. You're like, no, hopefully it's cool
oh,
stuff that's
great.
coming.
Oh,
Yeah.
believe me. Oh, I'm still paranoid about that.
Mm.
No, I think I hope everybody. I'm really excited to get started on Skip Beat. I think it's going to be really good, and we have some really good people. It's been very good hands. Christina V, Mela Lee, all that stuff, and
Yep.
I think it's going to be great. And I love my job, and I love the fans, and I'm just really really thankful. So thank you. Yeah, and thank you. You were very professional. So thank you.
You bet. Erica, thank you again for taking the time to chat with us today. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good night.